I'm going to be speaking about building a Python community in Zimbabwe. And just before I start, I just wanted to make a recommendation to the organizers for next year. See, when you do your code of conduct, I think you need to specify harassment based on taste for food, because I think I've been getting that a lot here. I and my Southern African friend Gabriel, we don't like paper that much, and this morning we woke up to see that we actually been taken to Twitter. So that's something that I might actually want to consider when you do your code of conduct for next year. So just a little bit about myself. I am currently working for Django Girls Foundation as their fundraising coordinator. Then I'm also on the Django Software Foundation Board of Directors for 2018, and I would like to thank the DSF for funding me to come here and represent them at this conference. I also organize a lot of events in Zimbabwe. I've organized the first two PyCons in 2016 and 2017, a number of Django Girls events, Django Girls Harare and Django Girls Masvingo, as well as Django Girls Heidelberg. I was also part of the organizing committee for Django Con Europe this year, so I think that's all about me. I also run PyLadies Harare. So I'll be talking about the work that I've been doing in the community since I joined it in 2015. And the main aim of my talk is not just to tell you what I've been doing, but it's to answer the question that people normally ask: what is it in it for me to organize events or attend conferences? So that's the aim of my talk. When I started organizing events in Zimbabwe, I remember when we were trying to get applications for the Django Girls Harare, the first one that was held in 2016, the common question participants would ask me was, okay, what's in it for you? Because how do you organize a workshop that you expect us to attend for free? We don't pay anything. How do you benefit? So they always thought that there was some, sinister behavior to that. How do you organize a conference and you call people to attend for free? They are not paying anything. You are not benefiting. So that's the aim of my talk, to see how do you benefit from organizing events within your community. So how it all started. So in 2015, I got a scholarship to learn Python through Treehouse. It was offered by Muzinda Hub, which is more of a tech incubation center in Harare. So we were supposed to learn Python in 3 months as an online course. Then the other 3 months, we were supposed to develop a project. So for many people who had not studied computer science or information systems, they found it hard to undertake their project. So we started by meeting at this basement, which is a basement under a package in Harare CBD. So we would meet and try and help each other with our projects and Python. And I think the first meetup were maybe 5 or 6 people. And we realized how helpful it was for people to meet and help each other with their Python programming. So that's how we started. But when we were trying to set up a community, the thing is, we had done Python as part of a digital skills and entrepreneurship course. So there was a conflict of interest whether we were going to be a for-profit company that is registered or if it was a non-profit. So most of the time, after we finished our projects, it was spent struggling to come out, it was bureaucracy. How do we structure ourselves? So we really had a problem on how we were going to operate. So one of the people whom we were working with was Humphrey Butau. He's one of my co-organizers for PyCon Zimbabwe, as well as one of the co-founders of the Python Zimbabwe Association in Zimbabwe. So he learned about PyCon Namibia. Humphrey had started using Python, I think, maybe 5 or so years before, but he was just doing it on his own. And he had been following Python events from all over the world. So he knew that there was going to be a second PyCon in Namibia. And he told me that he had applied for funding to attend PyCon Namibia and encouraged me to apply. So I also applied, and I applied because there was going to be Django Girls Windhoek as well at PyCon Namibia 2016. So I applied so that I could see how Jungle Girls events are run, and he was going to see how PyCon Namibia was being run. So we ended up attending PyCon Namibia in 2016. And we also got to coach at Jungle Girls Windhoek. But the main thing about our event was the funding that we got to attend PyCon Namibia wasn't so enough. So it was only enough to cover the flight. If we chose to fly, it wouldn't cover the accommodation and any other expenses that we would have. So Namibia and Zimbabwe, we don't share borders. You have to either pass through Zambia to go to Namibia, or you have to pass through Botswana. So we had to endure a trip which was a road trip of more than 30 hours. And it was going to be easy if it was in a bus, because you would have space to rest your legs. It was in those small 15-seater commuter or mini buses. And they don't make you sit properly 3 people in a row. They make you 4 people, actually. So it wasn't really comfortable. And when I look back now, I think, okay, this was crazy, but it was a sacrifice that we had to make because we needed to learn how to run PyCon events. It was 30 hours, plus 30 hours on the way to Namibia and another one back, but it was worth it, and we had a lot of fun, and we met new people, amongst them Aisha and Ibrahim, Gabriel, some of the people who are still here and whom I keep in touch with. Then afterwards, we managed to organize our first Jungle Girls Harare, and this one, we didn't have any struggle putting it up. We had sponsorship from the PSF, GitHub, and Muzinda Hub, so it wasn't quite eventful, but the thing was we had 27 women and girls aged between 8 and 61. So it was our attendees were actually quite diverse. Then we organized Jungle Girls Mashingo. So when I organized Jungle Girls Mashingo, I live in Harare, but my hometown is Mashingo. I organized during a time I was taking a break from everything. I just felt like I needed to spend some time at home. So while we were organizing Jungle Girls Mashingo, that's when the issue of sanctions against Zimbabwe came about, and we could not get funding from the PSF, and we had to push the date from August to September because of funding issues. But what happened with Jungle Girls Mashingo actually helped us manage to organize PyCon Zimbabwe, because we ended up having our friends help us fundraise for PyCon Zimbabwe through a crowdfunding project. And we truly appreciate all the people that we met at PyCon Namibia, because those were going to be the people who were going to help us, spread the word. You cannot get US people to contribute to your campaign if you don't know anyone in the US. And you will not get anyone in Europe to contribute to your campaign if you don't know anyone in Europe. So PyCon Namibia for us was a great exposure to people who are going to be key in helping us set up PyCon Zimbabwe. And we managed to have our 2 events, one in 2016 and in 2017. And the next one will be held this October in Harare as well. So what are the challenges that we faced in setting up the community? The first one was lack of direction. You see, Zimbabwe is probably, if not the highest, maybe it's one of the highest unemployment rates in Zimbabwe, because we have over 90% people who are unemployed, and we had just learned a new skill that we thought we could monetize. So there was always a conflict of interest between, are we volunteering or are we entrepreneurs? So that took us a lot of time trying to figure out, and that kind of hindered us in probably progressing as a community. Then the other thing was the lack of know-how, how to organize not-for-profit open source events. What people in Zimbabwe are normally used to is attending conferences where somebody is making a profit out of them. You sell tickets at a price rate, and people attend. So whenever you organize a conference, people are trying to make profit out of it. So when we try to approach universities to back us up, they would want to know what their cut would be like, what's their margin of the percentage, how we are going to make money, and that really made it difficult for us to get local sponsorship or local funding or people to partner with in terms of giving us a free venue or even other support, financial support that we would need. Then the other thing was we couldn't get local funding from our community. One, we have an ailing economy. Two, Python wasn't really used that much in Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe had always been a PHP language in terms of web. And when you go to people approaching them to say, we are organizing a Python event, they'll ask you what's Python. And given, witchcraft and sorcery in Africa, people tend to associate snakes with, witchcraft. And I've had one friend of mine ask me, why the name Python? And I said, the man who wrote this language liked a comedic group called Monty Python, so he named it after them. And he asked me, if he liked Monty Python, why didn't he name it Monty instead of Python? So that really, it made it difficult for us to get funding from people because they don't quite understand what you're trying to do because they don't know Python itself. And what actually made it even worse was when we were organizing the first Jungle Girls workshop, I was trying to spread the word amongst my friends from church, and people I know. And a couple had agreed to send their girls to attend our Jungle Girls workshop. And then they went to the Jungle Girls website to learn more about Jungle Girls. So during the time they visited, Jungle Girls was featuring Aisha Bello as one of the Jungle Bird-S ladies, and Aisha is wearing a T-shirt with a snake. Not that, not that Python logo that we are used to. That one is easier for somebody to accept. Aisha is actually wearing a picture which shows a real snake, And then they decided, I think this is bad for our girls. So they said to me, Anna, they were very polite about it. They said, I think we went to the website and we saw a woman who was wearing a picture with a snake, and then the other woman had tattoos. So I think we're going to hold down. We will not send our girls anymore until they're old enough to understand, you see. And I couldn't force them because they were minors and they had to come with their parents' consent. So those are some of the challenges that we faced in trying to set up a community in Zimbabwe. Then the other thing was poverty. I've already stated that Zimbabwe is over 90% unemployment. So we are trying to make people volunteer or attend events where they are not going to be paid, but they need to pay for transport money to get to the event. And of course, Jungle Girls workshops, they provide food, but when we meet for our pilots or other meetups, we don't provide food because of all the other reasons that I mentioned. So it is really, for this one I understand because I've been there myself. It is difficult to volunteer when you're unemployed and when you don't have any source of income because you are taking from the little money that you have and you are giving it to something that is not going to profiteer you financially. So it's like before you leave home to go to an event, you have $5 in your pocket. When you come back, you have lost $2 in transport going to the event. So it doesn't really profiteer you financially. It actually leaves you at a loss financially. So it's really difficult, I know, for people in Africa mostly to volunteer in open source communities because of that. Then the other challenge that we faced, which was peculiar to Zimbabwe, not necessarily to you, is Zimbabwe has been under political sanctions for a very long time now, especially from the US. I can participate in a hackathon like Hackering, but even if I do very well, I cannot receive a prize because Zimbabwe is a blocked country. So that really is difficult for us, especially given that we'll be looking for international sponsorship for our events. So that was really a huge challenge that we faced. So how did we get past our challenges? So for our first PyCon Zimbabwe, we managed to raise enough funds through a crowdfunding, which was done on 1% Club. One of the people we met at PyCon Namibia, Luke Van Jant, works for 1% Club, and he helped us, and with the help of Daniele Prochida, who's also on the DSF board, they helped us set up a campaign on 1% Club. And then we had friends from all over, and Aisha, Ibrahim, Gabriel, Jessica, Ivan, who was here last year, and many others whom we had met at PyCon Namibia, helped us to spread the word for PyCon Zimbabwe, and we actually managed to be overfunded. Our goal was to raise €3.6, but we ended up raising 4.6. So we are really grateful to the support that we got from the community, because if they hadn't helped us by helping us crowdfund to raise funds for our project, we wouldn't have managed to have the first event. The other thing that we managed to do is we managed to partner with university personnel. Okay, partnering with universities proved to be difficult, but what we would do is we would find lecturers who are working in those departments, computer science, and we have them attending our events or giving talks or helping us organize the events. So that really helped us. When we started in 2016 organizing events, Python wasn't really known, but now where we are is Python is now in the curriculum for our high school students. So the two introductory languages that are now being used is Visual Basic and Python. And now most universities in Zimbabwe are now using Python as their introductory language to teach programming to students instead of C. So we really had to work with university staff to, if they can come to our events, and some of them would bring their directors just to see. They come and see for maybe a couple of hours, then they go. It was then easier for them to champion their universities to use Python. Like we did with Django Girls Mashingo. Our venue was provided by Great Zimbabwe University in Mashingo. So soon after we left, the lecturer, the head of Department of Computer Science and Mathematics, he had been trying to push for Python. So after we taught their students to use Python and Django, it was easy for him to then lobby his council and get it approved. Then the other thing the other way that we did to get past our problems was to get international sponsorship and support. So the international sponsorship that we got, we have organizations like the Django Software Foundation. They've been supporting our events tremendously in Zimbabwe. We have other companies like Neximo who have been supporting us, but we also had help in crowdfunding. We have friends who help us with publicity for our events. Then we also have had friends like Helen. Helen didn't only help us with our crowdfunding campaign by giving a talk on it at PyCon UK, but every time we have a PyCon Zimbabwe, she doesn't attend, but she buys tickets for people to attend. So that is, people like Helen and Dr. Jones have really helped us, get people to attend our events without really coming. They buy tickets for other people. Then we also managed to learn from the community by attending other events and see how they do their things. Since 2016, I have attended many conferences, and when you attend conferences like this, especially if it's not held in your country, or if it's held even in another city, you need to just go beyond, attending, sitting in your chair. You need just to observe certain things, how they are being done, how are they running, how are they introducing their speakers, the code of conduct, how are they handling it. Things like that, they help you when you want to go and start events in your own community. You might not be starting a PyCon Nigeria because the PyCon Nigeria is already operational, but maybe where you come from, there is no Python event taking place. You can start it yourself. You don't have to wait for somebody to start it, but the way you do it is, when you attend an event like this one, you need to be learning to see how things are done, so that when you go to your own country or own city, you are able to implement it yourself. Then the other thing that really helped me tremendously, also at the PyCon Zimbabwe, was getting involved with the international community. So in 2016, while we were struggling to get funding for our event, we had a friend of ours, Daniele, he nominated us to join the DSF membership in 2016. So that really helped us to get to know other Django developers and get them to know about the work we're doing, and for them to support us. And if you are on the DSF membership list and you know people who are doing well in your community, you should also nominate them, because we are always looking out for new members, and it's difficult for the people who are not in Nigeria to know people who are active in Nigeria. So it's entirely up to Nigerians to nominate other Nigerians to join the GSF membership. So if you know anyone from your community, you can nominate them to join the GSF membership. Also, I've attended many PyCons in Africa. PyCon Namibia, I've attended 3 so far, and PyCon South Africa as well, and today I'm here at PyCon Nigeria. Then I also attended international events, and this helped me get exposure to the international community. And like Rebecca said, most of the conferences, they've got a budget for financial sponsorship. So you can apply for it, whether you're financial aid, whether you are speaking or you are not, you can just apply, and it will help you, get exposure and meet people who will help you later in your life. Then I also managed, in February 2017 up to August this year, I was volunteering on the GSF Code of Conduct Committee. So we would receive reports and handle them accordingly. But this was my first attempt at working remotely. And it really helped me get the skills that I would later need when I joined Jungle Girls Foundation, because I already had experience meeting and working with a remote team. And it really helped me when I got hired as a fundraising coordinator for Jungle Girls. Then in 2017, I ran for the GSF board. So there were people encouraging others to run for the board, giving statistics for last year and the like. So I submitted my self-nomination sheet, say this year I'm running for the board. Then towards Christmas break, we were told we were given a deadline to have voted, and we were told that I think it was 39 people who submitted their papers for 6 positions. So, okay, I said, okay, that was too ambitious of myself. I couldn't even vote before Christmas. Then just before the deadline, I said, okay, if I will not make it to the board, at least I should have 1 vote. So I really, my hometown has got internet coverage because I won't be in town exactly. So I really spent some hours just trying to get in my vote so that at least I could get 1 vote. So I was really surprised when I made it to the GSF board, and I really don't think it's by merit, but I like to thank the Jungle community that they really value diversity so much. It was just, there were many other Africans, but I think they really valued having an African woman on the board, and I really appreciate the opportunity. So any personal benefits for me? The first one is exposure. I managed to learn how to organize and run Python events. And also when you travel to these conferences, you learn a thing or two. And so it helps you develop your Python skills. Then I've also made some crucial friendships around the globe. And these are actually very useful in the sense that there are certain personal favors that you ask people when you go, when you go there, which you can't just ask someone whom you don't know. So it's important for you to talk to people while you're here. Maybe you'll be in the US one day and you need a personal favor. Rebecca will be there to help you. If you ever come to Zimbabwe, I'll be there to help you. Then the other thing that I got was I got a chance to build my reputation and to build my profile. Because if I had been in Zimbabwe and just doing things in Zimbabwe, people wouldn't know me, and they wouldn't trust me to put me on the board, or they wouldn't trust me that if they invited me for conferences, I would show up. So when volunteering, it gives people a chance to know you and trust you before it gets to giving you out money, because how can you work with somebody in Zimbabwe and pay them and know that they will deliver the work? So the opportunities that you will not get because people don't know you, it's easier for you to get them if you volunteer first. Because people are willing to invest their money when they trust the person, when they know the person. So the only way you can get known if you are here is volunteering. It's unfair that people expect you to volunteer when you are already struggling yourself, but you should not look at it from what people are expecting from you, but you should look at it of what will it do for you. And that's the approach that I used. Then it also helped me with employment opportunities. I met Ola and Ola at Django Under the Hood, and when I was interviewing with them, it was easier because they had already known me. And you also, when you meet people at conferences like this, you can actually meet your potential recruiter or somebody who will link you to another recruiter at conference like this. So it's important for you to network and to talk to people. Usually, the good thing about events in Africa is people don't wear the I'm up for a church badge like they do in Europe, or I don't know America, but in Europe they have these pages where they say I'm up for a church. If he doesn't wear that, it means he doesn't want to talk to people. But in Africa, you know, we openly talk to people. We are willing to talk to people. So take advantage of these conferences. Network with people. You never know, they will lead you to your next job. Then I also had the opportunity to meet potential mentors at conferences. Okay, where I come from, people really look at me, you know, in high regard, but I'm still learning Python. And, and it makes it difficult when you feel you're a student yourself and people already see you as the mentor. So I've really benefited from the economy, from the international community, in the sense that I meet lots of people whom I can approach via Twitter to say, okay, can you help me with this? And they help me. I talk to them, some via Slack, because we have been in some channels together, and they help me with my coding. So also conference gives you opportunity to meet mentors. I've also had access to resources like programming books, some donated to our communities, some I get people to buy for me at conferences. And lastly, I want to acknowledge that volunteering in the community has no direct, tangible financial benefits. That's very true. The organizers who are running this conference, they're not going to be paid after it. We may say thank you to them or might not say thank you, but they don't get any financial benefit from this conference. But what I need you to know that it offers invaluable and immeasurable benefits, which will eventually result in economic benefit. So if you are going to develop your skills, develop your networks, one day, who knows, you might land a developer job that will pay you so well, and you start reaping off the financial benefits that you were looking for.